Hello, my dear students. I hope you are all fine. And the previous lectures that you might have gone through must have been very, very fruitful for all of you. In this particular lecture, I am going to discuss about the themes, symbols, and structure of the Scarlet Letter, a great novel. It will definitely unfold something very, very elaborate knowledge of what is there inside this great novel, the novel of guilt, the novel of, you can say, the redemption, and the novel of typical mentality of the Puritan people against the sin, particularly sin committed by Hester Prynne, the chief protagonist of this particular novel. So, preceding the plot of the Scarlet Letter, there is an ancient called Custom House. In it, the narrator says, and you can imagine, you can just guess who the narrator is. The narrator says that he found a mysterious package since he was working somewhere, dating back 2 centuries on the second floor of the Salem Custom House. Okay? Just listen carefully. Where he worked as the surveyor of the revenue, the package contained a rugged piece of red cloth in the shape of letter A and a manuscript describing the story of a woman required to wear that particular letter as a symbol of shame for committing adultery. So Hawthorne then informs the reader that the plot of the Scarlet Letter tells the story of that woman as he imagines it to have unfolded. Okay? So, knowing about the outline or the background of that particular novel is of paramount importance just for the sake of examination point of view. So, just listen attentively, peacefully. In Puritan Boston of the 1600s lives a woman. We can say, just like the style of storytelling, there lived a woman in 16th century or the end of 16th century. And the name of that woman was Hester Prynne. She was a native of the village in England. So the novel tells us about her background through dialogue and flashbacks after marrying a scholar. And who was that scholar? The scholar was Roger Chillingworth, who spent long hours poring over books. Hester and her husband moved to Amsterdam, Holland. Then they lived there for some time before deciding to begin a new life in colonial America. He sent her alone to the town of Boston in the Massachusetts. How typical figure he was. Bay Colony. While he remained behind to just conclude business before following her across the sea. But in the next 2 years, he never arrived. And the citizens of the Boston presumed him to be dead. Everybody started thinking that he might have gone, either he might have gone astray or lost his life. So during these 2 years, Hester committed adultery and bore a child. And the name of that child, daughter, Pearl. The action of the novel begins at the town prison, where Hester is being held. According to the moral code of the Puritans, adultery is a grave, very, very serious offense. The punishment is death. However, the Boston authorities spare her life. Instead, they impose 2 humiliating penalties. First, she must for the rest of her life wear a patch of red cloth in the shape of the letter A, capital A, standing for adulteress, on her chest, I would say breast. Second, she must stand She must stand on that pillory in the marketplace, very, very sad, to endure uh, the burn of reproving eyes. You can just imagine if you are put in a situation just to stand on the scaffold and each and everybody is eyeing upon you as if you have committed a crime. You can just imagine, because making use of your imagination is very, very important to understand this particular novel. Hester had made a scarlet letter herself. She was just a sign of blame, bordering it with the gold thread so that it looked like a work of art. Work of art. At the same time, the symbol of shame. When she comes out of the prison, she carries herself. She carries along with her as a typical sign of, or the typical outcome in the form of daughter. So Houghton here writes, the young woman was tall, with a figure of perfect elegance. On a large scale, she had dark and abundant hair, so glossy that it threw off the sunshine with a gleam. What a description. And a face which, besides which being beautiful from regularity of feature and of richness of complexion, had an impressiousness belonging to a marked brow and deep black eyes. She was ladylike, too, after the manner of feminine gentility of those days. After arriving at the marketplace, she endures the glare of the town people, and everybody started staring at her while cradling her infant. As Hester looks out over the crowd, she notices a small misshapen man. Misshapen man. Recognizes. Misshapen, a little bit deformed and having a long beard, not like me. And he recognizes him as her long lost husband, who has been presumed lost at sea and who was presumed to be dead. When the husband sees Hester's shame, he asks a man in the crowd about her and is told the story of his wife's adultery. He becomes very much perplexed. He angrily exclaims that the child's father should also be punished. And who was the child's father? Dimmesdale, okay? He should also be punished, he publicly exclaims, and vows to find that man. One day another, Roger Chillingworth says that he will find that man and get him punished. Further, that Reverend John Wilson and the minister of her church, Arthur Dimmesdale, question Hester, but she refuses to name her lover. She was very adamant, and all the time she tried herself to hide the name of Dimmesdale. Okay. After she returns to his prison cell, the jailer brings in Roger Chillingworth, a physician. He was a great physician, to calm Hester and her child with the roots and herbs. One day what happens, Pearl falls sick, and she was suffering from some kind of whatever problems, children are having. So Roger Chillingworth gave him some draughts of medicine, and she started recovering. It was amazing, He was a very, very intelligent fellow as far as the giving medication is concerned. When Hester refuses, he insists that she never reveals that he is her husband. Now she agrees to Chillingworth's term, even though she suspects she will regret it in days to come. After being released from prison, Hester settles in somewhere in a cottage at the edge of town, and earns a meager living, just for the sake of livelihood, through her needlework. She was a skilled woman as far as the needlework is concerned. She lives a quiet life with her daughter Pearl. Now she has made herself adopted. She is troubled by her daughter's unusual character, As an infant, Pearl is fascinated by this scarlet letter and all the time raising questions about her father's. As he grows older and becomes moody and unruly, her conduct starts rumors, and church members suggest Pearl to be taken from Hester. No, she becomes very perplexed. Hester, hearing this particular rumor that her only support of her life is going to be taken from her, so she plans to meet with the higher authorities, and she visits governor's home, that is Bellingham, Mr. Bellingham. With him are Mr. Reverends Wilson and Dimsdale. Dimsdale is also standing there. When Wilson questions Pearl about her, some details about her mother, she refuses to answer, even though she knows the correct responses. Hester appeals to Reverend Dimsdale in desperation, and the minister persuades the governor to let Pearl remain in the Hester's care. Finally, she manages herself to persuade the authorities that Pearl should be living with her. Okay, now the story moves ahead. Being in close contact with Dimsdale, Chillingworth begins to suspect that minister's illness is a result of the unconfessed guilt. He is trying to hide something. So he pressurizes the minister psychologically because he suspects Dimsdale to be Pearl's father. One evening, pulling the sleeping Dimsdale's vestment aside, Chillingworth sees something startling on his chest of the sleeping minister, and there was engraved, the scarlet letter, the capital A. So the tormented by is the guilty conscience. Dimsdale goes to the square where Hester was punished and immediately starts crying before the public. Just he climbs to the scaffold and he starts calling Hester and Pearl to join him. He admits his guilt to them but cannot find the courage to do so publicly. Suddenly, Dimsdale sees a meteor forming a gigantic A across the sky. That is also one of the symbols. Simultaneously, Pearl points towards that shadowy figure of the Roger Chillingworth. Hester, shocked by the Dimsdale's deterioration, decides to obtain a release from her vow of silence to her husband. In her discussion of this with Chillingworth, she tells him that his obsession with revenge must be stopped in order to save his own soul. So several days later, Hester meets Dimsdale in the forest where she removes the scarlet letter. Now they have started meeting again, and they are just planning to leave that particular place. In the conversation, she convinces Dimsdale to leave Boston in secret on a ship to Europe, where they can start a new life together. So renewed by this plan, the minister seems to be gaining a great energy. Pearl, however, refuses to acknowledge either of them until Hester replaces her symbol of shame on her dress. So returning to town, Dimsdale loses heart in their plan, and he has become a changed man and knows that he is going to die because he was suffering from some kind of heart disease. Meanwhile, Hester is informed by the captain of the ship on which they were about to be sailing that Roger Chillingworth is also going to be one of the passengers, because he was very vindictive. He wanted to take revenge from them. Later, before the public, Dimsdale gives his one of his inspiring sermons, and after giving his sermon, he falls on the earth. And seeing Hester and Pearl in the crowd watching the parade, he climbs upon the scaffold and confesses his sin. Dying Hester's arm. Finally, he dies. Later, witnesses swear that they saw stigmatic uh, entity in the form of a scarlet A upon his chest. Chillingworth also, losing his revenge, dies shortly thereafter and leaves Pearl a great deal of money, enabling her to go to Europe with her mother and make a wealthy marriage. Several years later, Hastur returns to Boston, resumes wearing the scarlet letter, and becomes a person to whom other women turn for solace. When she dies, she is buried next to Dimmesdale, and they share a simple slate tombstone with the inscription, "On the field sable, the letter A girls." Okay? So that is how the story moves ahead. Finally, we get some information about the Pearl also, that she has got married with an aristocrat, and she was leading a happy life. Finally, we lose one of the great protagonists and a very hard-headed lady, Hester Prynne, and she was buried just beside Dimmesdale. So that is the whole story. It's very, very pathetic one. I hope you must have started recognizing some of the characters. They play a very, very important role in this novel, particularly Chillingworth, Roger Chillingworth, then Dimmesdale. Pearl also sometimes creating nuisance in the mind of her mother and forces her to reveal the truth. But at the end, when each one of three dies, we get some soothing information about that girl who was the outcome of that adultery, who was the outcome of that bloody shameful sign, that is the scarlet letter. And she started living her life happily as ever. Okay? Thank you.